intermeshed. We'll start with, basically there are three topics we'll cover in this. Okay, so when we talk about Jeevan Vidhya, it's going to talk about, one is the study of the human being, one is the study of the human order, how human or human organization, how humans are organized, and organization in nature. Right? So we'll be studying it from three angles. So, and the first topic that we will talk about is the study of human being. But before that, there is some ground which we need to cover, because a lot of inputs which have come in, how they, I mean, uh, to start a journey, we need to start from one place. So we'll talk about three fundamental facts that we have. Every human being, after a certain age, starts acknowledging three fundamental facts. Okay. So the first one is that I am. So now I'm saying this is a fact for all human beings. So you are a human being. Is it a fact for you that you are? Is it true for you or not? So this you have to do, this exercise. When I say this is a fact, then you have to verify whether it is for you a fact or not. Okay. So I am. Is this a fact for you? That you are. You exist. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it a fact for you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The second is, because it's not that only I am, there are many other things around me. You guys are there. This building is there. There are trees, birds, animals, minerals. And if you look up at the sky in the night, the stars, the moon, sun, so many things. So let's give it a collective name. So whatever is there besides me, I'm also part of this. Let's call it world. So the world is. So is this a fact for you? So there are other things besides you, right? And then I am, the world is, and I want to live happily. Is that a fact for you? But do you want to live happily or not? So the thing is that this I is in this world and it's doing something here. And whatever it's doing, it wants to be happy. What is happiness? We'll go into it later, because that leads us to the three fundamental questions which arise from acknowledging these three facts. So the moment we recognize these three fundamental facts, there are three fundamental questions. Okay? I know I am, but I don't know what I am. So that is the first question. So that is one part of the study in Jeevan Vidhya. So we'll be trying to answer that question for you. It's not, we are not the first ones. You've been studying so many things, so this question must have been answered for you in many other ways. Similarly, the world is, but what is this world? Is it an illusion? Is it a place to be happy and be merry? What is this world? So this needs to be explored. I know I want to live happily, but what is happiness? That is the third question. Okay? So any study which addresses these three, here we are calling that knowledge. So study for knowledge, and then there is technical studies, like learning languages, learning mathematics, how to manage machines, how to grow plants. This is all technical. So when I say knowledge here, I mean these three questions. This is the domain of knowledge. Okay, that's the domain of skill sets. So that's the study of skill sets, the technical studies. Okay. So I, world, and happy living. These are the three main issues or three main things which we need to focus on when we are talking about knowledge. And it has been talked about since ancient times, since the man has come onto this planet. Even in caves, somebody was mentioning caves, there are paintings which show that they were asking such questions. There are spiritual and religious paintings found in caveman times. Right? In fact, probably that was the first reason to go and paint in the caves. So these three questions have been answered in the human tradition earlier by various people and various philosophies, ideologies. We are going to put these ideologies, philosophies, religions, everything into two major categories. Okay, so one is the materialist viewpoint, and the other is the spiritual viewpoint. And why are we doing this? So that we know where we're standing today. And in context of this, where we are standing today, I'll propose to you what we are going to talk about in Jeevan Vidhya. Okay, if you are able to relate to the analysis which I give here, then there is probably a chance that you will feel the need to go into that content. Okay, so I'm creating the background for further study. So the present context, where are we standing today? So according to materialism, what am I? A body. Yeah. Very simple. I'm just a body. What is a body? It is born, it lives for some time, then dies. And the story is over. So there is only a duration of life which is from birth till death. It's a short duration. So if I am a body, then I have very short time. And I have to do much. How is the world looked at in materialism? It's a physical world. How do we look at it? Yeah. Yeah. Youthfulness. Usefulness. Okay. Yeah. It's a planet also. Yes. So in this worldview, the world is looked at as a resource for the body. So I am a body, the world is a resource. So mineral resources, plant resources, animal resources, human resources. Right? We have a human resource ministry also. And in this worldview, what is happy living? Huh? Use the mic, please. We have mics. One by one. Yeah, give it to him.
Money.
Money. Okay. How is money related to happiness? It is right, but how is it related? Acha, sorry.
So that actually Material things we can buy.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah.
So money gives us access to resources.
Resources. Yes.
Yes.
Consumption.
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 Yes. So happiness is body, I as a body, world as a resource. So I consume the resource. This is happy living. This is a very basic analysis I'm giving you of the worldview of materialism. This is how it looks at the world. Any questions or any doubts on this?
One as well as this one.
What
Which
is
is that question we began, the premise we began with was that the third question is, the third reality is that I want to live happily. But the question that raises is, what is happiness? Which makes me question that if you don't know what happiness is, then why do you want to live happily? You don't have any recognition of what happiness is. I would change that statement to rather be that I don't want to live unhappily, because
okay?
you have recognition of what unhappiness is.
Okay.
So here again, I would feel that consumption is a way to not be unhappy. Uh, yeah, to avoid unhappiness.
So how will consumption avoid unhappiness?
Because I, the premise would be over here with materialism that if you consume, then you won't be unhappy.
So if you think of yourself as a body
Hmm.
and the world as a resource
Hmm.
and consuming, this is the whole purpose of living, is to consume.
Hmm.
And when you're consuming and you look around the examples in your life around you, does this give, this consumption, does it give some sense of well-being or not?
Yeah, physical well-being.
Yeah.
But I
So
would.
there is no anything beyond physical as I here.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I wouldn't I wouldn't say that they're saying that consumption is happy living, because then, or maybe they are. I had a issue with the previous one more than
Okay.
with this one.
The basic essence is to that these are three major areas that we need answers for, and these answers have been given in this form, and this is what we are practicing. Have you practiced this? Has any one of you practiced this? I'm just saying, I am a body, the world is a resource, and living happily means consumption. So if I'm stating this fact that this has come through ages till where we are standing today. So we might have participated in this. We might have lived like this. So I'm asking, have you lived like this? Okay. Next. Materialism gives us a lot of logic. Why does it give logic? Because materialism basically is based on the fact that fundamentally there is only matter. And whatever is happening in matter is resulting in various states. Evolution is in matter, and the mineral order or the plant order or the animal order or the human order is coming out of that matter. These are different states of matter, right? And the changes, matter is ever changing. And you can observe these changes. You can put a seed in soil, you can see it germinate and then grow and become a full tree and fruit and give the seed back. So you can watch this. So you can watch the sequences in nature, right? Matter is perceived through senses. So materialism relies on senses. So anything that can be perceived through senses and instruments which are extension of our senses. like you're wearing specs. It's just an extension of your eyes, or a telescope, or a microscope, or a mic, or whatever. These are all extension of our senses, right? So anything which can be detected through senses or instruments is reality, and anything beyond senses or instruments is non-real. So something to be real has to be detected through senses or instruments, right? And through senses we can observe things, and we can see the sequence of things happening, various stages, various phases which are going through things. So therefore we can see, how does a tree come about? It comes from a seed. So we can say this is the causality of a tree is a seed, right? So this activity and causality, this relationship is called logic, right? So that's how materialism is built upon logic, right? We can take two things, like we can mix two things, and we can say this will happen with it. We have done this, and anybody can repeat it and verify it, right? Which is this scientific methodology. So it's built on logic. But it is purposeless. What I mean here by purposeless is, it doesn't give a common purpose to all of us. Here the collective purpose, what I mean by purpose is the collective purpose. The same purpose for all of us. It is absent. And why is this relevant, having a collective purpose or a common purpose for us? Because we live together, whatever we do has an impact on everyone around us. So if we were seeking harmony, in case we are seeking harmony, then we will need to work for common goals, common purpose. If we don't work for common purpose, we can't have harmonies.
I mean, if you want harmony collectively, we can also just follow a set of rules collectively. We don't have to strive for some goals, right? Like that's not the only way of getting at harmony.
Yeah, so following a rule becomes a goal then. That's what some religions have tried, no? Follow these rules, then we'll be harmonious within ourselves. Following is not so easy. That's what we've discovered, right?
You said that purposeless, but it's just an example. When we build a road,
Yeah.
it's for all of us, not for mine or not for the person who made it. So how it's not common?
So when we build a road, there is some reason it is done for some. See, in this system, materialistic system, everything is done for resources. And who controls the maximum resources has the power. Okay? So a road is built not for the benefit of all. Road is built for profit. And profit comes through movement of goods and services. Right? So it is built for some business. It is not built for well-being of all. If there is a road, a lot more other people will also use it. So you can probably charge a small tax to them. And this we have been doing since ancient times. Well, you want to use my road, you have to pay for it. Right? Yeah. Mike.
And even if we talk about something that like a road, as she suggested, it is going to have a benefit for all, or it is useful for everyone. The meaning of that road is very different for all of us. For example, if we have a flyover, very nice flyover, somebody who owns a good car, for that person, that flyover is a beneficial thing. Somebody who has an auto, that person is going to have a lot more trouble in taking that thing up. Somebody who owns a cart, for that person, that flyover would be even a bigger trouble. And people who had to give up their home so that that flyover could have been built, that person would have a very different meaning. So that same road which is like useful for everyone has a different meaning of usefulness.
True. So like we've lived in Noida for some time, and at one stage in Noida, the road infrastructure was improved, and once it was improved, the crossings for pedestrians, the and Noida had a lot of cycle rickshaws. Crossings for them disappeared because in India, where only 7.5% population has access to cars, all the road infrastructure, all the public transport infrastructure is built for car users, not even for public transport. Anyway, that's a debate for some other time. But there is no common purpose for which we all can work in this. You can do anything. You can consume anything in any manner. Doesn't matter. As long as you have the power to acquire this. So there's a lot of power game in this. So the world organized around this is a power-centric hierarchy. And we all are participating in it presently. Okay? Next. Then on the other hand, there also has been in human tradition the idealism or theistic system, spiritual systems of knowledge. Right? There also these questions have been answered. What is I according to, say, for example, Indian spiritual system? Soul or Atma or something like that, right? Some X entity which is beyond senses, right? Right? And what is the world? How do they view the world? Something to engage with? Not really. Something temporary, something which distracts you, something where you get trapped. It's an whether it exists or does not exist, that also is questionable. So it is an illusion. So this, whatever we are seeing. So interestingly, in idealism or theism or spiritualism, the fundamental reality is not matter. It is something beyond matter, some ideal substance or object, or some people even call it God, right? So, which is perfect, which is permanent, which is everywhere and everything, right? Something of that sort. And since it is beyond senses, the fundamental reality or anything real is actually not within the range of senses. So they're drawn, in some schools of thought, they've drawn the conclusion, anything which can be perceived through senses is actually unreal. So whatever you see or feel or touch is actually unreal in this side. Here it is, anything you touch, feel, see is real. Here it is unreal. So then what is reality? So reality can't be perceived through senses, it has to be realized or it has to be experienced. Right? What is happiness here in this column? So there's a concept of liberation, right? Moksha, being liberated. What does liberation basically means? So most of the Indian schools talk about, because we are entrapped in this illusion this I is entrapped in this illusion, it is engaging with it, it is thinking it is real and trying to seek its happiness. So, becoming liberated from this illusion, breaking away from it. And that's why you do meditation, so that you withdraw from this world and finally withdraw from this body. That's when you become liberated. Okay? So this is the second set of schools which we are putting on this side, idealism. Essentially they're saying this. This school of thought has common purpose, which is to become liberated. Everybody needs to work for that, function for that. And in this, there is a belief of God, so maybe worship the God. That also is common purpose. Or live according to the will of the God. That is the common purpose. But this is totally based, because it's beyond senses, there are only beliefs to go by. There is nothing observable. So therefore it is logicless. So in the end you have to have faith. Faith is the only thing. So any of these schools, there are many, thousands of such schools, which are rooted in idealism. You start with faith, you live with faith, and you end with faith. So it's logic-less purpose. It is trying to give you something common for everybody to do, but because there is no logic, therefore there is no unified purpose which comes out finally. So everybody tries to. So what happens here is, so like for example, some of these schools believe in some form of God. So what is this God? So some believe God is formless, some believe God has a form. So there are two schools here. And those who believe it has got a form, some believe it has got a human form, and some believe it doesn't have a human form. So again there is a divide, there are another two schools. Then in human form, is it a male form or a female form? Again there are two schools of thought. If it's a male form, is it the elderly stage, life stage, or a youthful, or these are all various sects we have. If you look around yourself in India, you'll find so many schools of thought. Somebody thinks God is formless, somebody will think they've got form, somebody thinks it's a male, some think it's a female, some say it's a young one, some say it's an elderly one. All various sects are there. And they have their own schools of thought, and they all have their own sets of beliefs and practices, and they all believe in liberation of some sorts. Right? The world is not to be strived for. You just are here for some time, do the minimal, and get away from it. That is what the message is in all these schools of thoughts. You're not here permanently, because this world is not permanent in itself. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So what are the living program which comes out? If we have this worldview or this worldview, because the worldview you have, this will determine your lifestyle. This will determine what you do in life. Okay? So in this, is it time already? 10 minutes. Yeah. So in this, you live to accumulate wealth, and so accumulation of wealth and comforts. You're a body, the body needs comforts, so that is one of the objects. But since body can't consume these comforts all at one time, therefore you accumulate before somebody else consumes them. Right? So what we are calling comforts here is whatever you consume with the body. Right? Clothes is one comfort, chair is another comfort, right? This room is also one comfort. This project is also another comfort. Food that we eat is another comfort. But the body, through which we consume these comforts, has its limits to consumption. You can only eat that much in one time. You can only wear that much in one time. But because this is the only thing you can do, you want to consume more and more, and there is a limit of the body which is not allowing you to consume the maximum at any given moment. Therefore, you keep hoarding, I'll consume it later. So this is where the accumulation or the hoarding tendency which comes in. Right? Interestingly, present form of living on this planet is dominated by this. We are doing this. Okay? And I am doing this, you are doing this, you are doing this, everybody is doing this. What are they doing? They want to consume as much as possible. How much time we have? Very short, between birth and death. So limited time, and we want to consume as much as possible. Right? And the body is not allowing us to consume maximum, it is only allowing us to consume limited. So we want to have our own control over. So that if I possible, I'll consume more, but I should have access to it. So I try to have access over more and more resources. So and the same thing I am doing, you are doing, everybody. Everybody is wanting more and more resources. So what does this lead to? This leads to struggle amongst us. Because I want this, we are living in this campus, and I want to consume the maximum. And I want to have control over the maximum resources. And so do you do. So do you. So what happens? We have a conflict. And we have a struggle. And whenever there is struggle and conflict, what is the law which functions there? Natural law or human law? Huh? Or might is right? So the only law which is functioning in the human domain, in this worldview, is might is right. Though we have courts of law and everything and so many systems, but in the end, whoever is more powerful wins. What does it lead to? So this leads to lopsided development. So there are movements against this. So protest and movements which end up in, where did I put this? Yeah, sorry. So it ends up in struggle and war. And war is also decided by might is right, nothing else. So all our mechanisms that we have developed and we are using right now, whether it's the family, whether it is the communities, whether it's the society, whether it's our production systems, whether they are exchange systems, transportation system, everywhere we are some way or the other ending up here. For short time they seem to work, but eventually they slip into this. Interestingly, we don't want this. We don't like this. That is the irony of the whole thing. We don't like this. We don't accept war in a normal state of mind. Market. I don't know. Market. If market were falling and that is why we didn't want war, then wars would have ended much earlier. Actually, markets can be manipulated through wars. So for the larger society, this is where we are stuck. So when we go to school to study history, we study the following war was, this war was fought at this time and this war was fought at that time, and whole history is full of that, fighting over resources between communities. Okay? So maybe I'll stop at this because our time is over, and tomorrow morning we'll continue from here. Think about this. If you have any questions, any clarifications are needed. Right? Okay. Thank you.